first job, what were?
Oh, mine is probably worse. No, I remember, so I was referred to my, okay, where do I start? So my friend's dad was a director at a farm. That's where I interned.
Oh, okay.
That's where I did my internship first. Then when I did my internship, my boss there, one day was probably chilling, having drinks with this contractor and said, I know somebody who wants to work at site. Because I remember it was Friday at 8 p.m. They called me. I'm like, hello, Kanja. No. Then my boss was giving the phone, hello, can you come here tomorrow, 9:30 a.m.?
Oh, really?
I was like, okay.
I'll be there.
So Saturday morning, 9:30, I was there. I was showing the company, everything. I was the first female there. So he just looked at me like, now what are you going to do? So he showed me the site on map and told me, Monday, you'll be there by 8. And that's how I got the job.
And you've been there since?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So this, I didn't bring the struggling batch today. for
Mine, I think mine is going to help those who don't have, who don't know. If you don't know anyone, because mine, I didn't know anyone. This now, I think I've loved working with mentors, and mentors have been a building block, showing me what step to take. And as I said, you observe, learn, and do what you need to do. So once, when I was in university, in a conversation with my mentor then, who was my professor.
How many mentors have you had?
I have a mentor at every stage.
Okay.
So at university, I had my university professor, who was a construction management professor. She was my mentor then. And in one of our conversations, she mentioned the farm that I'm currently working. She said, you could try this or you could try that.
Yeah.
And we just left it at that. I just noted it down. I had never heard of it before. I didn't even research it afterwards. Then I think months to clearing school, I thought, what am I going to do? Like, where am I going to go? I was in another country, so I wanted to come back to Kenya. And I thought, okay, I don't know most of the farms. I'm not interned, so I can't easily say I know someone. So I said, let me look at the list I was given of really good farms, right? Really good farms. And so I looked, and I found, they have a company in Kenya. Yeah, and I thought, okay, if I'm to come back to Kenya, let me see if I can get through to them. I literally just went to their website. I looked at the email of the contact person, the director.
Yeah. Wait, the contact person is the director?
Yes. Okay. So I looked at the Sub-Saharan Africa director, and I emailed him. And I said, I'm coming back, and I'm looking for. And that's how they contacted me.
Oh, really?
That's how it.
You give us the website.
No, but let me cover this.
Yeah, exactly. Where were you coming from?
Besides the fact of where I was coming from, there's a friend who asked me after finishing university. They were like, okay, I don't know what to do. What should I do? I said, hey, go to their website, do the exact thing I did.
Yeah.
Send an email. And that's how they got a job at another really good farm.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why is
so
it
I think
so simple,
exactly.
Though? I feel like there's something.
No, there isn't much, because I remember that's how I got even my internship while I was in university. I didn't know the farm in the other country. So it's not this country or the other country, but in the other country I also just sent an email. And I just got in. So I think most people fear that I have to know this person and that person. Just as Anne, I think she has not mentioned, she knows how to knock doors. Just get yourself to the place. Yeah. You don't have to know somebody. Okay. If you can express yourself, but in that email, I didn't just write something somehow, Exactly. I noted that I've done this, and I'm willing to do this. Right? You packaged yourself exactly.
You
so if you can exactly. So if you can
For
brand.
the next episode and just go through that.
If you can brand yourself, and really these people know that you're just coming from university. They don't expect you to have worked, right? Yeah. So just put yourself out there as a person who can do the work, who can, be taught, who can learn, because most of us have learned. Exactly. Yeah. So don't fear. Just put yourself out there, send that email, you get it.
Okay. have diverse opinions.
Maybe just something that is going to be a bit different in terms of what we're talking about. Just I remembered something when you started. Is that one expectation that I think we don't mention is that what you learn in school has nothing to do with what happens in the industry at all. Like, well, in terms of the only thing I will say is that you see the building part is the building part. That is probably always going to be the same, like that. But you realize that the actual problem in construction is the people, not the building.
I've been getting
That is another episode.
The people. The building will, like, it's just stone, mortar. Like, these things they don't do anything to you. They be delayed at worst. But other than that,
and it's the
once you put
delay.
them, they're that, but the people, that's where the work is.
But how do you think?
Yeah.
I don't want to go into it again. It's just become a whole episode. But I completely agree with that. And you go to UN?
Yes.
So because even just looking at what we learn most is more studio work.
Yeah, yes.
And it's since you come out, I don't think I've designed anything.
But I think I understand the logic now. In that, considering the way the course is, and you find that the linchpin for construction most of the time is the architect.
Yeah.
So if no one can be able to just absorb what the architect needs to do or has done, then everyone else can't do anything.
And they can't link, exactly.
Yeah, so, and especially considering you need to link everyone up, you need to be able to look at the drawings and understand, because that's the language they speak. In fact, on site, even when you go to a site where, like, they don't know what you've done, and you see you can read drawings, then that's something, especially one too, hey, okay, you seem to know what you're doing, so there's some hope here.
No, I'm not discrediting the studio bit of it, but I feel like that's where the emphasis is, not on the management bit, which is management is more leadership, the contract, the communication, the wall. That's where most of it is, and you learn that through actually doing.
Experience,
you lead your first meeting, you see the gaps. You do your first report, you see the gaps. You do your first conflict, on site, and you see the gaps. So you actually learn most on site, not on.
And then something I found very interesting, a lesson, I think it's one of the most interesting lessons I've learned in my life as a PM.
Your life as a PM? Just 5 years. I know.
I mean, technically,
No, it's something like it's 50 years ago.
So far.
Okay.
So I think I appreciated, at some point I started to appreciate how much you have to deal with people. But I remember this instance. So I worked on this project for 4 years, BS Mall. And we were having all these things going on, and it's very hard to see the bigger picture when you're in the middle of a big project. And then I remember my boss came, and he told me, I think the biggest problem we have here is managing different cultures. And I was like, what? Yeah, we have a client who is a certain culture, and they have worked in a different culture, so they have a mix of two different cultures. And then there are people who have never dealt with these cultures before. We have a contractor who is probably Chinese, some are Indians, some are local, some are all these people. You have different levels of education on the project. You have people who come from, even the workers. We had, like, how many workers on site on average? We had 1,000 people on site on average. We had, like, the client was willing to pay for the best talent on the planet in terms of designers, architects, engineers, everyone. And everyone was bringing their own culture. And it got to a point where we were not communicating. Because the Chinese don't understand, why are you making a fuss about this contract? The job is done, And then the client is like, I need the contract. And then the project managers, with my colleagues, they're English, they're like, we need procedures. And it got to a point, it was Babel. You got to a meeting.
Thought about it in terms of different cultures, different levels, different
even
work.
your employer. You'll realize your first employer really influences how your outlook and how you behave in general.
Okay.
And it can waste a lot of time. And that is your biggest enemy as a PM. It's a time waster. You are talking about the same thing this week, next week. You think you're communicating because you're very clear and you know how you're speaking English, right?
But
you're speaking.
It's not getting through to them.
Kenyan.
That's so true. We need to impact our time. But seeing flashes already. So just to try and wrap this up, there's one part we've not touched: expectation versus reality. Money. I come from a... I don't know why everyone is telling
me that important?
But we have to...
I think that is very important.
Yes, because me, I'm coming from a point of... We are so willing to talk about everything else, right? But we barely talk about... I even have a consultant who is like, I'm very good at my job. I love my clients, but I hate talking about money. Like sometimes when they're like, okay, give us a proposal on how to do this, he'll like be like, oh, no, let's talk about the project. What do you think? The client's like, your proposal. People, I don't know why people don't talk about the one thing that is making us do all this. Money. So how has your expectation versus reality? You know, the good thing about being the host, I get to just ask you all on that. So who wants to start?
I'll go. I think that, of course, naturally, I think with everything, the expression is never always what you expect. So there's always, I mean, when you're finishing school, uni, or even now with mentors or even interacting with people, those things you even do research and see, oh, this is how much I should be earning, or this is the range.
Yeah.
But of course, because the other thing is that you have to look at the demand versus supply. So because it is actually currently or even the past 10, 20 years, the demand has not been, the supply is a lot more than the demand. So of course there's so much options for anyone employing.
Yeah,
so they can choose to pay you minimum based on what you're coming in as an entry, as compared to someone who has more experience and is able to deliver based on that, because they're saying, oh, you know, we need to teach you, we need to do all those things. So I think you come to learn that that's how it always is. When you're starting off, it's never what you expect it to be. I mean, occasionally sometimes you may be lucky enough and then you get someone who is just, it's okay, we'll pay you whatever you want.
Oh, really?
But yeah, there's those ones. I'm sure there's those ones. Yeah, you know.
You know.
What? So there's those, but then you see, for people who are going to pay that premium price, they expect you to deliver. Yeah. Almost perfect.
Premium services.
Yeah. So you can't just, half-ass and then expect that you're going to be you're going to lie for a few times, but then as soon as you found out, as I said, merit-based. Like it's work done. So you're given a program. Where is it? You are told to build this house. Where is the house? You can't be telling them, I thought, I hoped, I wish. Where is the house? Simple.
But what was the gap between your expectation versus reality? Was it because I also don't think you expected to come out and have 150. To
be honest,
so what?
For me, I think that I can't say I had a number in mind when I started.
Oh, really?
Because for me the main thing was, I mean, as I told you, I'd work on site as a Manger person. You paid 500 a day. Yeah, 500 shillings
at that time.
Yeah, at the time.
I think these days it's like 650, 700.
Whatever it has become. Yeah.
So
why are you paying people?
So yeah, it's about that. So you sort of see a range of where you are, but you see the thing is, based on how the skills you build up and also experience you get, it's going to increase for sure. Because again, as you see, the consultants or even whoever is paid in construction, they're paid as a percentage of the total project value.
Yeah.
So the higher the project is, most likely, more often than not, you will get sort of equivalent in terms of pay. But again, as I said, it depends on who you're working with, it depends on the work you do, it depends on what you're willing to take.
To give.
Or give.
Yeah, so same thing. I have a group of friends, I think most of us are quantity surveyors, and we just agreed. We talk numbers, let's talk real numbers. Don't start giving me ranges. Because even if I know how much you earn, it won't change
my...
what I earn, and it won't change what you earn.
But it may help motivate.
Yes, and the same thing.
Yeah.
And as much as you think I might want to work at her firm, it also makes me think, what skills do I have to earn so as to match what you're doing, if not be better.
And how to package yourself. You already have the skills.
Sometimes, yes. Yeah. So what, I started off with 15,000 for 3
That was before
months.
COVID. The inflation was still...
The good thing she said, it was for 3 months.
For 2019. Yeah.
Okay. Life was still expensive then.
It was because I live far. My parents live far. So the office is in Kilimani. My parents live in Kitengela. And the sites are, everywhere. By then I didn't know, and by then I was not thinking about money, which is also what I tell the people. When you're starting off, probably money is not your motivator. You're getting the skills, you're getting the connections. you're getting to go to these boardrooms which you would have never sat in unless you're working for such a company.
Exposure.
Yeah, or exposure, paid in exposure. I'll tell you for sure, construction, that exposure, it's perfect. It's part of the networks you get there, you can easily shoot up.
Exactly.
Okay. Yes, but that's why it started. I know life right now is really hard. And also know there's been a lot of undercutting in the industry. So even farms are strained with money, and the money they have, you know, so the director has to eat properly, and the seniors, by the time it gets to you, it's some breadcrumbs. But then that's also a motivator for you to learn the skills, because something my boss told me, nobody will ever listen to you until you also bring money.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And construction is one industry where your boss can never refuse work that you've brought in.
Yeah.
They can never say, oh, you brought in the work, okay, you can do it under our company, this is your cut.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They'll never refuse. So that's one thing I'm learning right now. Even if you go to the biggest farm, there's always a cap.
Yeah.
But the day you learn how to generate business, the day you learn how to get the clients, to do your fee notes properly and everything, you're good to go.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm still looking for someone to give me that graph. Because now at 15K, we need to motivate someone.
Let me So one, I think we need to differentiate who you are working for. Okay, so we have people who start off, people like me who started off with a consultancy right after university. People like her who started off with a contractor. Generally, and I think all of us know that generally contractors don't pay very well that much
when you're starting.
When you're starting, right? Consultants, I'm not saying they're paying really well, but it's not as exactly when you if you compare. So consultancy generally pays more than what a contractor would pay you when you just get in. But again, I think what we need to, besides the numbers, as Grace has said, as you're getting in, don't look at how much you're really earning. Whatever you get, try, if you're going to get into consultancy or the contractor, get in and then try build up your value, your own skill. You can always get money anywhere, because there's a newsletter that they interviewed me for ACMK, and that's the same thing I'm trying to reiterate, that your value will pay you, right? So Kenneth initially said, or rather it was you who said that they're different. You initially expected that you're going to work for a real estate firm or any other firm. It doesn't have to be construction as a project manager, because that's what you were told while you're in university. I think, it is very true. As you build your value, you can always, because value is sought. People seek for value. And as these 5 years, 6 years, 7 years have continuously built their value, this money literally just follows them, isn't it true? Something like that. Because not many people actually offer value. You should see it in the industry. Yes, they're being paid, but they don't offer value. Those who offer value are actually being sought for. I think that is generally not just construction, anywhere else.
So I think, to just reiterate what you said, is that the focus now, if you're a student, if you're learning, to find a way to give value, whether you're going to learn a skill, whatever, because that's what's sorted after. That's what pays you. No one wakes up one day and tells you, here is the money to sit around and do nothing. No company will ever do that. And I don't know, maybe there's some that do, but hey, I've not met anyone.
Unless
so
it's
more,
father.
Unless it's your father and they're willing to do that. Hey, perfect. But most people will be like, what are you offering? What value? So if you can learn to create some value, then based on when you join and the type of trajectory you take, you find that it can be shorter than maybe doing 6 years or whatever. But it's based on the value you offer.
I saw the numbers. She gave us the starting point of 15. After 2 years, where should you? After 3 years? 2
years based on what? You see the thing, that's the thing. It's not
our viewers are very, very...
There's a chance that, okay, fine. If you're gonna, we can give some rough numbers based on, as I said, experience. So after 2 years, assuming that you have been working with whoever you've been working with, there are some things that you can be able to do on your own. So you might find you can double that salary or even make it times 3 based on, again, what can you offer? And then also, how do you package yourself to the people you want to work with? Because by then, I would think that it's easier to tell who you want to work with and who you don't want to work with. So then, because of who you want to work with, because the more you like something or enjoy something, you improve it. So it's easier to sell that, and you can, say double, triple. But then now from there, it takes a longer time to just start getting to, the 5 figures, 6 figures, obviously.
Yeah, but it's very hard to come from school and just start earning 100.
Yeah.
Let me just put that out there. It's not easy. I
But
don't
you
even
can.
know which firm you're working for, but you have to straight from school.
Unless you want to do CPA. You do and then get into KPMG first. You can go earn 100 and then come earn 15.
To get her numbers.
Yeah,
She's like, I can offer some numbers, but I'm like, Anne, okay, go. Go.
So, when I was on intern, I actually started at less than Kanja.
What?
At Achi, when I was still in campus.
But that is that.
That was 500 shillings.
Per day, yeah?
Come on,
And then by the weekend, I would be paid like...
On Saturday, Saturday evening.
No, I would be paid at the end of the month. So it would come as 7,500. And by Monday, I had nothing.
Yes.
So that started that. And then I also did some internship at Saiton. At that time, Saiton were building. We were being paid 20K, and they were deducting NSSF, NHIF. Yeah.
Like that's even unfair considering the tax-free amount is 24K. So.
And for those guys who had help, they were deducting as well.
20K.
So by net would come to I think 17,000. Although I was only there for a month. And now KPMG obviously starts
Let's
at
jump
100.
that.
But now what KPMG did for me is it helped me negotiate. Because now when you transfer, when you move across, it's very hard to grow your salary like this.
Yeah.
So when I come from KPMG and then I go to the next company, it's easier for me to start at more than 100.
Yeah.
And something I also discovered now because I came into the construction industry without experience per se. So I had imposter syndrome that was crippling. I'm like, you guys don't know, I don't know shit about this industry. So I would shortchange myself in my negotiation. But then what I found out, I think I had a good mentor who just told me what they were earning. And I was like, what? You're doing almost the same thing and you're earning that much money. What? I really shortchanged myself. So I went back to my boss and I told him to give me an increase. And he asked me how much. And I told him and he said, okay.
Which farm is this?
She'll tell you.
Behind the scenes, we have to know.
So I developed a habit of overperforming and asking for a pay raise.
Okay.
And I found that when you're adding value and you just create mostly you can create a niche for yourself in the industry. There are so many things that you can do and be the expert of that thing.
Okay.
Or you can just be good at everything, although that might take a longer time. Yeah. But the minute you can add value to a company, they're willing to talk about your salary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This has been very interesting. I don't think we've gone through all the expectations versus reality. Will you guys come again?
Sure.
Invite us.
Yeah, invite us.
And you give us tea or water.
Just as fresh. But okay, we'll look at that tea option. But just to wrap it up, thank you very much, guys. Does anyone have something they really want to tell our viewers before the next episode? Or are we good?
Stay tuned.
So thank you very much for coming. I think we are going to take more of this conversation, offline and just to really understand where we are at and what we can do to build each other up. So for our viewers, thank you very much for tuning in to this episode. Give us your comments. Let us know what your expectations were and what your reality is, even though you're working in other industries, which is not construction. Let's talk in the comment section. Share this video with your friends and see you for the next video. But before we log out, I'd just like to mention that we are shooting today's episode at Tilisi. So Tilisi, this is one of their villas. It's a mixed-use development, and they're offering you a variety of options. But this is one of their best villas. So it's they usually have their sales team available 24/7, but 7 days a week. So if you can just come around, have a look at it. It's very strategically located. It has high-level infrastructure that you've not seen in any other estates or any other developments. So come have a look at the options that they have. Thank you very much, guys. For those who are students, please check the ACMK website because we are launching the student competition for the next month. So have a look at it and see you there. Thank you.